Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the cortege of processors. Thank you. You may be seated. Before I start, may I ask everyone to please switch off your mobile phone or put it at silence. Honored guests, colleagues, beloved family members, not only the ones present here, but also the ones who are following the ceremony via the live stream, and the alumni who I promised to wave at. Hi. And most importantly, dear students, good afternoon. I would like to welcome you to the closing ceremony of the academic period 2013-2015 of UNESCO-IHE Institute for Water Education. When the cortege entered, you heard a song performed by Professor Rolfink and Professor Marnet. I think they deserve a round of applause, huh? Yes. Thank you. My dear graduating students, in an hour or so from now, when you receive your degree, I cannot call you students anymore. I should and I shall call you alumni. Yes. I see that makes some of you smile, and others are still too shocked to believe that this very day has finally come. Well, pinch yourself or your neighbor. It is true, really. Your perseverance has brought you here. It has been tough, right? Well, not only tough, it has been like an overwhelming wave of 1 million events in an extremely short time period. I'm not just talking about the knowledge you gained, or the field trips you undertook, or the hours of study that you put in, the sleepless nights you had, trying to hand in your assignments in time. Some of you had some awful waves to take when you encountered personal hardships, maybe here or back home. I'm quite sure you went through quite some changes from within as well. Probably it somehow feels like if it was yesterday when you sat in the auditorium during the opening of the academic year. You sat there wondering who all these people were, where they were coming from, or what type of culture they represented. And, most likely, whether it would be possible for you to become friends with them, fearing that there were much more differences than similarities between you and these strangers. Isn't that a world of difference compared with how you are sitting here today? Boundaries have vanished. And hopefully you were able to let go of many of your prejudices. And now you see many of these graduates sitting next to you as friends for life. The special, fascinating, or I even prefer to call it magic thing about this institute is that we have every single culture and nationality present here that you can imagine, and that underneath one rooftop. So these 18 months have been the perfect opportunity to learn from others' cultures, to open up yourself, change or at least review your perspectives, and see the good things in other views of life. Consider this a plea to keep with you what has enriched you during these 18 months. Do not let it go on the way back. Take it home. If possible, even open the eyes of others, so that they too can experience the beauty of another person's mind. Not in envy or in hate, but in amazement instead. Make it a true life changer. That is my wish for you. So perhaps I have put a tiny bit of pressure on you right now to go tell people, to be open to other perspectives, be amazed. But like I said before, you are now part of the alumni network. If this great open feeling of understanding tends to decrease a little, lean on that network. You created it here. Lean on them as a kind reminder. You are part of the UNESCO-IHE family. So, work together on this wish. Since we have many things to go through this afternoon, I would like to invite Professor Stefan Uhlenbroek, UNESCO-IHE's Vice Rector and Officer in Charge, on the stage to give his opening address for the closing ceremony. Thank you and enjoy this ceremony to the fullest.
Thank you. Dear graduating Masters of Science, family members, Excellencies and members of the Diplomatic Corps, Lord Mayor, representatives of the Dutch government, members of the UNESCO-IHE Governing Board and the IHE Delft Foundation Board, dear fellow professors from UNESCO-IHE and several other universities, colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the awarding of the Masters of Science of the 2013-2015 program of UNESCO-IHE Institute for Water Education. Today we have gathered in this beautiful church to honor and to celebrate 149 students from 39 countries who will graduate today. It's my particular honor to be the host during this very remarkable event today. During the past 1.5 years, you our graduates, I'm addressing mainly you now, you have sacrificed a lot. You sacrificed by leaving family and friends behind. Many things happened back home. Children were born, went to school or graduated from school. Persons close to you passed away, weddings, etc. However, you did this in pursuit of a common goal of improving your knowledge, your academic skills, to assume later, when you're back home, better and higher positions. But these will be also positions of higher responsibility in your home countries. It goes without saying that the entire UNESCO-IHE community share the pride which you so rightfully manifest today. You have proven yourself in many ways. You have grown in the last 18 months. In many ways you maybe don't even realize by now. And this might come back to you, maybe during a flashback situation in the coming month or years. It is much more than knowing all about the principles of wastewater engineering and the potential of the potentially wise ways to improve the governance of water resources or the processes connected to the dynamics of the hydrological cycle. No, it's much more. You became a different person. Compare yourself during the time when you came here to UNESCO-IHE, some 18 months ago. Think about yourself when you arrived in October 2013. For some of you, it was the first trip, first foreign travel, or at least the first travel to Delft, to the Netherlands, to Europe. Likely none of you has interacted with such a diverse group of colleagues and fellows. And during the opening of the academic year, though I need to admit that I don't know exactly how we did it in October 2013, but during the opening of the academic year, usually we ask our students to introduce themselves to the person sitting next to you, or to the person in front of you or sitting behind you. And it was very likely that these were fellow participants who have chosen a different subject area. Well, you all came here to study water sciences, but maybe some of you were more interested in engineering or in the social, managerial, or in the ethical aspects of water sciences. But it was also very likely that the person to whom you introduced yourself came from a different country of origin, from a different ethnic group, or had a different mother tongue, or a different religion. It might have felt a little bit awkward at the time. Maybe just introducing yourself to the stranger. But now, 1.5 years later, you collaborated a lot, you worked in teams, and nowadays it feels so normal to interact with colleagues across borders, and I mean borders in any dimension. You hopefully find it normal to interact with any professional, also by the means of sharing of data and knowledge and experiences. That is what I consider as the key commitment to contribute to solve the global water challenges. The you developed with respect to your professional and personal competencies, but also UNESCO-IHE, your institute. Your institute also developed, and many things have happened over the last 1.5 years. I just want to remind us on a few milestones related to our academic work. We had an institutional audit carried out by the Flemish-Dutch accreditation organization regarding the quality of education and also the way how we assure quality, and that yielded a very positive outcome. Furthermore, all our 4 master programs were re-accredited. And also we got accreditation for joint programs with international partners. They were also accredited. And that demonstrates that UNESCO-IHE is a real front-runner in the world of global or international education with respect to joint programs. In 2015, 2 new joint specializations will be launched. One is called Groundwatch, that's on global changes in groundwater, together with the University of Lisbon and Dresden in Germany, Erasmus Plus program. And another one on water cooperation and peace, part of the water management program with the University of Peace in Costa Rica and Oregon State University in the US. The latter was launched just last week in Korea at the World Water Forum, and it created a lot of interest. And I learned yesterday during lunch that the Groundwatch program also is received very well. We already got 450 applications for some 20 or so fellowships starting in October. So it seems that these joint programs will be hopefully bestsellers. What else happened at the Institute? We launched and graduated participants of the Graduate Professional Diploma Program. We had Chocolate Gate, which was documented in some newspapers here in the Netherlands. We had a review of our research as part of the research school sense, and that also yielded a very positive outcome for some chair groups, but particularly at the institute level, and the societal relevance of the program was really highly appreciated by the review panel. I could continue with more events and more highlights, but I will always remain incomplete. So UNESCO-IHE developed, and you developed as a person and as a future academic. Beside the knowledge and the cognitive competencies that you gained and the academic skills that you developed, I'm confident that you will agree that one of the most valuable and tangible aspects of your experience here at UNESCO-IHE is the network of professional colleagues that you have developed. This includes both participants as well as staff of this institute. Stay in contact, be active as an alumnus or alumna, use our channels, contribute to the newsletter, Facebook, LinkedIn, the platform, the associations in your home country, etc., etc. But also consider UNESCO-IHE in your endeavor to continuously develop professionally, for instance in the lifelong learning programs, using our e-learning offerings, refresher courses, etc. And last but not least, please work with us as professionals in projects in your home country, in your regions. Let us jointly educate and supervise the next generation of future water leaders and come back as a guest lecturer or team up with any activities back home in your country. I would like to thank the whole UNESCO-IHE community, including the academic staff, the support staff, the guest lecturers, in particular the Dutch government and Dutch institutions for their very generous support. And also I would like to thank all the other donors who contributed to the fact that we can celebrate you today. I want to close my speech with requesting that all of you go forth and do good things for your country, for your village, city. Yes, for the local, regional and global community, and consequently contribute to sustainable development of this planet. You have proven yourself in so many ways, and I know that we will hear from you in the future in terms of your contributions in solving the world-related water issues. I speak for all my UNESCO-IHE colleagues stating that we are proud of you and that we are looking forward to stay in contact with you, our newest alumni. Thank you very much. Always look at the bright side, yes, thank you. It's now my particular honor to invite the next speaker, Dr. Fritz Holzwarth, the chair of the governing board of UNESCO-IHE, to acquit himself of his duties and to address the audience with his speech. Dr. Holzwarth, please.
Graduating Masters of Science, Professors, Lord Mayors, ladies and gentlemen. Water is one of the most dynamic forces in nature, and it is an outstanding opportunity that after 18 months you are starting to do in your professional life things in water. From a technical side of view, from a more social side, and from other sides. And I think you can be really proud about the institute where you are graduating from. His Majesty the King from the Netherlands said to the Vice Rector in his last New Year's reception, when the Vice Rector had been introduced as Vice Rector of IHE, the Institute has always a special place in my heart. So I think this is a good message, especially in the environment we are acting now. And by the way, the King is also an alumnus of the Institute. So water is an interesting medium. You get inspired by water. Water is a medium which leads to action if you have too much or too less water. And what I find very important, that you graduated today, but at the same time we have 149 new water ambassadors in 39 countries, in countries with very diverse situations if it comes to water. And I think what you learned in the 18 months here gives you a solid basis to work in your countries on improving the livelihood of people. So for me, it is on one hand side an honor, on the other hand side a great pleasure to convey my personal best wishes, but also the best wishes of the governing board of UNESCO-IHE for your professional future. And I would like to finish my brief greetings with a quote from Albert Einstein, which I think is very nicely linked also to the water issue. He said, "Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving." I wish that you are always able to keep balance and to keep moving. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Holzwart. Dear Fritz, these were inspiring words, and I am sure they will have lasting impact for our participants, for our alumni, I have to say, in an hour. Next point. Today I have the pleasure to announce that the Institute will award Professor George Eckamer an honorary fellowship of UNESCO-IHE. With this nomination, the Institute recognizes the eminent contributions Professor George Eckamer has made to the science of sanitary engineering and his dedication and support to the activities of UNESCO-IHE for several decades. I would now like to invite Professor Damir Brdjanovic, Professor of Sanitary Engineering at UNESCO-IHE, to present his laudatio to Professor Eckamer. Please, Professor Brdjanovic.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow academics, dignitaries, and particularly today's graduates of UNESCO-IHE, it's my privilege to provide the laudation for Professor George Adrian Eckamer. Professor Eckamer is specially known for his excellent research that has provided innovative solutions to enhance and improve wastewater treatment, and his important work in helping South Africa to find solutions to water scarcity. This is in fact a quote from the speech of the South African President during the ceremony in which he awarded Professor Eckamer with the country's highest honor, South Africa Order of Mapungubwe, whose first laureate was the late Nelson Mandela in 2002. Dear George, Recognition of your outstanding achievements has come from many other quarters. Just to mention the Water Institute of South Africa, the Royal Society of South Africa, the Academy of Science of South Africa, and the Academy of Engineering of South Africa, who have all established you as a fellow member. The fellowship of both the Academy of Science and the Academy of Engineering confirm the fact that you have used your talents to a great extent to apply fundamental research to wastewater treatment practice, in particular in the successful scaling up of a lab-based system to pilot and full-scale installations. As a young researcher, you had the privilege to learn from the greatest in the field, Professor James Bernard and late Professor Marai, both leaving a wealth of practical knowledge behind, and just to mention the famous wastewater treatment engineering configuration, such as the 4- and 5-stage Bardenford process, the Johannesburg configuration, and University of Cape Town system, nowadays applied globally. These great developments in South Africa have inspired numerous researchers and determined their scientific interest worldwide, including myself. Beside your scientific curiosity, you also looked very meticulously into all components of a wastewater treatment plant, trying to understand, describe, improve, and transfer the freshly acquired knowledge without delay to others. Such a holistic view of wastewater systems has allowed you to master the knowledge and understanding of wastewater treatment that has advanced extensively and moved away from empirically based approaches to a fundamentally based first principle approach, embracing chemistry, microbiology, physical and bioprocess engineering, and mathematics. Many of these advances have matured to a degree that they have been codified into mathematical models for simulation by computers. Therefore, no wonder that many consider Professor Marai and you as the father and son of mathematical modeling for wastewater treatment, respectively. Arguably, you are the only person who can describe correctly all the relevant processes in a wastewater treatment plant by mathematical equations and put it all in one single spreadsheet, and all of it makes sense. For a new generation of young graduates, it may be important to know that in the early 90s, where Professor Marai, supported by you, and IHE lecturer Mr. Wenstra established the first wastewater treatment modeling course in Delft, the first of its kind. The course, which is still running, nowadays in cooperation with another great in the wastewater field, Professor Mark van Loosdrecht from TU Delft. About a decade ago, your enthusiasm and great writing and didactic skills were one of the main reasons why the new online course on biological wastewater treatment of UNESCO-IHE became a great success. The accompanying textbook is the #1 selling book in the history of IWA publishing. Nowadays, the book is translated into Korean, Chinese, Russian, Arabic, and Spanish, and is used at universities in South Africa, Hong Kong, Italy, Finland, the United States of America, and many other universities in developing countries as a standard textbook in their environmental engineering curricula. You will also remain remembered for an unusual gesture. Not many people know that the fact that without your generous personal contribution in 2011, we could not have created our new wastewater laboratory at UNESCO-IHE. This becomes an even more unique event, knowing that that support came from your own pension fund, that you partly sacrificed for the benefit of our mission. Your only condition was to make some use of the facilities until your new lab was ready, a condition that you have never made use of so far. Professor Ekama is a great pioneer of modern wastewater science, and as such, he has continued to play for more than 40 years a pivotal role in the development of sanitary engineering in South Africa, Africa, and further afield. He has supervised 22 PhD and 45 master students, has published more than 450 technical, scientific, and conference papers and reports, and has made a significant contribution to the fact that UCT is currently the best engineering school in Africa. His tireless efforts in transferring unselfishly his wisdom and knowledge to the young generation of scientists are stunning. His dedication to carry out applied research with high societal impact is respectable. His noble dedication to help improving other people's life is amazing. In this respect, Professor Ekama has lots in common with the mission and the vision of UNESCO-IHE. Don't you agree? So, George, you have arrived here at the 2015 graduation ceremony of the UNESCO-IHE to accept another accolade as Honorary Fellow of the Institute. I'm delighted that you have accepted this award and very much look forward to the Institute graduates and staff continuing to benefit from your inspiring science and your extraordinary insight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Bojanovic, Damir. Now it's really my special honor to present the award to Professor George Ekama, the Honorary Fellowship of UNESCO-IHE. We'll take it for the moment.
Professor Bojanovic, thank you for those most kind words. I must say, any of those great achievements that you have mentioned of me would not have been possible when it wasn't for the energy, enthusiasm, intellect, and perseverance of my postgraduate students and those I've had the privilege to do research with. Thank you to all those students and those ones I still look forward to meet in future. Thank you for bestowing on me this honor of becoming one of your fellows. It is truly a great honor to be associated with the UNESCO-IHE in this way. Graduates, I'm speaking to you directly. During the course of your studies here at the IHE, those of you who have selected the sanitation discipline, you may have wondered why you've had to learn all these theories and equations about electron donors and electron acceptors. Let me give you some perspective of why these progressive universities find this important. Until 1980, designers of wastewater treatment plants had their favorite, probably own set of equations for sizing them. To call these equations models is just not appropriate. They were black box equations empirically linking wastewater treatment outputs to some limited measures of inputs. The better ones have found their ways into books, which populate the library shelves of consultants and municipal offices. They are outdated and teach nothing about what's going on inside the wastewater treatment plant, hence black box, no light. They have no fundamental basis and are only useful after many years of experience. With environmental engineering being the young discipline it is, there were no legally enforced codes to regulate designs of wastewater treatment plants, except in Germany. And so each wastewater treatment designer could do what they wanted to, except break the laws of nature. And they didn't know when they were or were not doing that. What a few universities around the world did from 1975, the University of Cape Town being one of them, was to apply the fundamentals of chemistry, bioenergetics, bioprocesses, and stoichiometry, mass balances to the apparent chaos of wastewater treatment plants. Because wastewater treatment plants is a municipal function, design and operation of these plants became the preserve of civil engineers. In fact, chemical engineers steered clear of this, calling us civil engineers bucket chemists, when in fact we were simply applying the same discipline they used, but to wild wastewater treatment plants. After some 20 years, coherent, integrated, rational, logical, mathematical glass box models were developed, embracing all the various disciplines. Continuous refinement and improvement of these models is continuing today. These are glass box models because they help us understand what is happening inside these treatment plants. Because the concepts of these models are based on fundamentals, the laws of nature, they apply to most municipal wastewaters and industrial wastewater for that matter. So have superseded all the empirical design procedures found in these various books and in aging practicing engineers. As bioprocess engineering matures, more and more specialized bacterial groups are being found that mediate specific bioprocess reactions that can be harnessed to sustainably recover water, energy, and other resources from waste. More and more universities that are offering postgraduate education in urban sanitation and wastewater engineering are offering these courses based on these fundamentals, the UNESCO-IHE among them. There is a fundamental worldview expressed in these multi-dimensional models. If you measure only 3 things, then the validated part of the worldview is only 3-dimensional. All the rest is knowledge learned by experience and retained by individuals, companies, or controlled by codes. Having, say, a 12-dimensional worldview, because now 12 things are being measured, places greater responsibility on the designer to judiciously choose those 4 or 5 things that are not measured, because seldom is everything measured. So instead of blaming the operators of wastewater treatment plants when the guesstimated non-measured degrees of freedom result in bioprocess malfunction, the responsibility can be laid squarely on the shoulders of the engineer's choice of these non-measured parameter values. Better models expose our ignorance. Some are of the view that the fundamental modeling approach we teach at universities is just one approach of equals competing for space. While this may have been true in the 1980s, it's certainly not true now, 30 years later. The fundamental modeling approach is to relativity as empirical design procedures are to the Newtonian laws of motion. Yes, Newtonian physics are useful, but they are too limited to meet the demands of modern wastewater treatment plants. How does one persuade a person to change their mind about their deficient worldview? By explaining a better one. And there is no better place than to start with you younger generation, like you graduates, and giving them the confidence to argue it out and prove the limitations of the old empirical approaches. For you graduates, I hope that your learning experience here at the IHE has done that for you, but it will require you to learn and understand the empirical procedures you encounter. What I'm saying is that environmental engineering is no longer the kind of discipline where there is complete personal choice about what design approaches one can follow. For a new younger generation of science and engineers like yourselves entering the water professional domain, the quantity and complexity of these new developments can be overwhelming, particularly in developing countries where access is not readily available to advanced level tertiary education courses. However, upon completion of this growing new curriculum, the modern approach of environmental engineering, design and operation can be embraced with deeper insight, advanced knowledge, greater confidence and competence. Graduates, competency is a basic value. It is not means to another end, such as wealth or position or prestige, although those results may occur. The application of this dictum, that competent work is a form of love, love in action, loving your neighbor, are many. Those that grasp this understanding of work will still desire to succeed, but will not be nearly as driven to overwork, trying to find their significance and self-esteem in their performance, or be made as despondent by poor results. If you believe this dictum to be true, then you have to choose between work that benefits more people, work that pays you more. You should seriously consider jobs that help more people and may pay less, particularly if you can be excellent at it. It also means that all jobs, not merely the so-called helping professions, are fundamentally ways of loving your neighbor. It depends on who you are in serving it, yourself, the salary, or your neighbor. Regrettably, work for many has become a chore to endure for 5 days, so that at least for 2, they can do what they like. Work, our attitude to work, exposes our idols, self or service. This principle, that competent work is a form of love in action serving others, is one of the ways for finding satisfaction in your work, even though our jobs may not, by the world's standards, be exciting, high-paying, or even desirable. Martin Luther argues that although all work is objectively valuable to others, it will not be subjectively fulfilling unless you consciously see and understand your work as a calling to love your neighbor. John Calvin wrote that no task will be seen as sordid or base, provided you obey your calling in it. Notice Calvin speaks of obeying your calling in it. That is, consciously seeing your job as a vocation, as God's calling on your life and offering your work to Him. When you do that, you can be sure that the splendor of God radiates through what you do, whether it is as menial as digging the trench or as grand as designing the treatment plant. Your daily work is ultimately an act of worship to the God who made, called, and equipped you to do it, no matter what kind of work it is. There is an iconoclastic mood sweeping through South Africa at this time. It started on UCT campus when a group of students protesting about the slowness of transformation of the university threw the contents of a chemical toilet on the statue of colonialist Cecil John Rhodes, who bequeathed the property on which the university stands. Later, the statue in Pretoria of Paul Kruger was defaced. He was the first president of the independent Transvaal Afrikaner Republic until it was conquered by British imperialism in the Second South African War of 1900. Soon after, the first trickling filters in South Africa were built in Pretoria. These trickling filters are still in operation today, and for decades, during the second half of the last century, they baffled us sanitary engineers for their unusually high nitrogen removal. The issue was cleared up recently when a stable population of Ammonox bacteria were found in the biofilms of these trickling filters. Who knows what amazing bacteria performing yet unknown remarkable bioprocesses are waiting to be discovered by you. Not to be undone by the UCT students, a group of youths defaced the statue of Mahatma Gandhi in Johannesburg, denouncing him a racist. Gandhi began his activism as an Indian immigrant in South Africa in the early 1900s. How he could be considered a racist defies understanding. My daughter Katie is a history scholar here at the University of Leiden, and she will be the first to tell you that those who don't know history are condemned to make the same mistakes as the past. Gandhi, his title Mahatma means great soul in Sanskrit, is well known for his non-violent movement and his insightful speeches that cut to the heart of the matter, leading up to the independence of India in 1948. In one such speech, he said, "These things will destroy us. Politics without principle. Pleasure without conscience. Wealth without work. Knowledge without character. Business without morality. Science without ethics. And worship without sacrifice." Where do these principles of conscience, character, morality, ethics, and sacrifice come from, if not from God? I ask you to think about these things as you and I return to our developing countries with worrying insecurities, but great opportunity. There is an African proverb that goes, if you think you are too small to make a difference, you have not spent a night with a mosquito. Graduates, congratulations. Well done for your hard work and perseverance. You are now rewarded by receiving your degrees and diplomas. You have been changed by what you have learned, from confusion to competence. Remember that in all stages of life, the path to a new understanding always starts in confusion. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Professor Eckermann. Surprise.
I will look differently to mosquitoes from now on, I think. All right, so I think it will be a great time to make this event even more special and even more cheerful by giving you a short intermission performance performed by 5 of our graduating participants, well, 4 graduating and 1 first year. Let me introduce you to Irina, Jacobine, Miret, Augustine and Mulba. They are from several African countries and they united to perform a combination of a traditional and a contemporary dance. Please give a loud round of applause.
oya sáré wá wá kékeré, kéré wá kó àtúntì dé. Oya burúkú tún ló kú sára lára òwe. Oya ṣèkìrì nìyí, oya ṣèkìrì nìyí, oya ṣèkìrì nìyí, oya ṣèkìrì no. We don't go with another, yes. We go take una further, yes. Now we be the brothers, where they scatter all over the borders. We don't go with another, yes. We go take una further, yes. Now we be the brothers, where they scatter all over the borders. Take it, I like you. Take it, I like you. Oh yeah, show, no hala. You dey making me go mad, baby go harder. You dey making me wanna crazy. Oh today, oh yeah, sorry, wá kékeré, kéré wá kó àtúntì dé. Oh yeah, burúkú tún ló kú sára lára òwe. Oh yeah, shake it, oh yeah, shake it, oh yeah, shake it, oh yeah, shake it, no.
Thank you very much. This was brilliant. So that brought us into a good mood, and we continue with the program. And it is now my pleasure to introduce the next speaker. The next speaker will be a Rotarian official, Engineer Henk-Jaap Kloosterman. He's the Rotarian Host Area Coordinator of the UNESCO-IHE Scholarship Program. Please, Mr. Kloosterman.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear UNESCO students, soon-to-be alumni, fellow Rotarians. On behalf of Rotary International and the Rotary Foundation, I would like to thank UNESCO-IHE for the extremely fruitful partnership that has evolved over the last couple of years. Rotary is a global network of volunteers with about 34,000 clubs worldwide, with about 1.2 million members. Rotary has water as one of their focus areas. The Rotary organization funds and coordinates and executes many water and sanitation projects all over the world. To date, Rotary has sponsored over 50 UNESCO-IHE students to get their degree. This relates to an investment of in total over $1.6 million that Rotary has invested in UNESCO-IHE, and we think it's money very well spent. And I'm proud and I'm honored today to inform you that the following Rotary-sponsored UNESCO-IHE students have successfully completed their studies at UNESCO with good marks. It's Badru Zaman from Indonesia. It's Emmanuel Umolo from Nigeria. It's Fidel Vargas from Bolivia. It's Said Yinusa from Nigeria. And this is a name I like. Adenichi Adebiji from Nigeria. Bekisisa Monta from Swaziland. Hilary Muheretsa from Uganda. Bongani Bembe from Swaziland, excuse me. And this one I will struggle. Mohammed El Fatih El Ajilabi from Sudan. And now to another part of the world. Ruchira Yayatilaka from Sri Lanka. Juma Yahaya from Tanzania. Mark Johnson from Liberia. Sachin Tiwali from India. And also mention Fatai Adelani from Nigeria. And there are two more students that want to do a bit more, and they will graduate in June. Hector Navas Ortiz from Mexico, and Antoni Akpom from Nigeria. And you will see all of them later today. But these students that I just mentioned, they're the second group of Rotary sponsor students to graduate. Last year you had the first one. They were all selected by a Rotary club in their own country. And when they came to the Netherlands, they were assigned to a Dutch Rotarian as a host counselor, who provided them with support where needed during their stay here in Delft in the Netherlands. And I would like to specifically thank those Rotarian host counselors as well, and many of them will actually be here in the room. So give a big applause to the Rotary host counselors. So this is what was happened, but I would like to look forward, and I think you all agree with me, it's important to realize the journey actually has just started. In the next couple of weeks, every one of you, but also our Rotary sponsor students will return home, and they will start to work with their sponsoring Rotary clubs in their home countries to improve the water management and sanitation situation, and they will be building on the skills that they've gained here in UNESCO-IHE. And this is where the real impact is going to be made. Really, the best has yet to come. And therefore today is a very important milestone for our partnership with UNESCO-IHE. And I would like to invite Professor Stefan Uhlenbroek, who is sitting next to me, because what we have done in order to commemorate this partnership, we made a Delft blue tile. And it's pretty obvious, the symbolic meaning. It's Delft, it's blue, and it symbolizes the success of this partnership to date. All of the students got one, and I would also like to give UNESCO one to give it a prominent place in your building to commemorate this. Thank you, Professor.
Thanks a lot.
And as some closing words, we already see the first success stories coming through, but I'd like to come back sometime and tell you many more good stories of what our students will achieve. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Klostermann. Next surprise, please.
Full of surprises today. Well, of course, later on I will mention those names that Mr. Klostermann has mentioned, and 120 more. So be prepared. Yes, we will also applaud for you. And now I would like to invite a duo of student representatives, Ms. Caroline Huguenin Amador from Costa Rica. And yes, you may applaud, yes, yes. And Mr. Olivier Tuyishimire to the stage to give their address, sharing some inspirational words with the graduating students.
I start. Okay. Dear Vice Rector, professors, guests, families, and friends, dear colleagues, good afternoon. We are so happy and glad that you could join us to this event and share this moment of happiness with us. What an amazing journey, right?
Oh, yeah.
But we can finally say, yeah.
Woo! We made it! Yeah!
The experience of being part of the IHE family is so rewarding in many aspects. Meeting new people, new religions, new cultures can be hard to assimilate, but so rewarding at the end. Of course, the journey was not always easy. A friend of mine once told me, if you give up, it means you never really wanted it. Along the 18 months, there have been a lot of ups and downs, moments of loneliness and depressions, cries in hostels, but as well moments of unforgettable joy and happiness.
18 months ago, we had to leave our homes and our families to start a new adventure in this country called the Netherlands, to pursue our dream of becoming masters of science. The weather, language, and food were different, but the excitement was so great that we welcome all these new experiences. The first weeks, we were warmly welcomed into the IHE family with different activities, exalting the Dutch culture and getting exposed to its tradition and food. How can you forget the first time you tried some heading? I know I won't. Or the lekker bitterballen. For many, riding a bike was a first-time experience. And by now, I know many of us would like to take our bikes home. Thankfully, there were always someone to help you out. One of the most valuable things about studying at IHE is the cultural diversity of the students, which was a great opportunity to learn from other cultures and traditions. Not only we were learning about water, but also how to say hello in many languages. For instance, Jambo in Swahili, Selamat pagi in Indonesian, Hola in Spanish, Ni hao in Mandarin, and of course, Hallo in Dutch.
Then the honeymoon was over, and the real work started with the modules. Some had to learn how to study again after years away from classrooms, remembering how it was to study long hours and have sleepless nights to deliver our assignments, and going through all the new materials. With the arrival of the spring, faces were more joyful and the energy was up again. We already made many friends that felt more like family when we had to go our separate ways to other countries for our field trips. Some went to Spain and Portugal, others went to Italy and France, others went to Germany and Luxembourg, and even others went to the United States.
We had the opportunity to see for ourselves many practical examples learned in the classroom, and also to have some fun and new interesting experiences. I remember when our group was looking for the source of a spring, and we had to go through a field. There were some nice and peaceful cows minding their own business when we intruded their grazing. When they realized that we were getting closer, they were not happy at all. We had literally to run for our lives. And so, after that day in the field, I will never see a cow the same way again. Coming back to Delft, we had our last modules, and we were so happy to take our last exams. Little did we know of what was coming with the thesis. Pam, pam, pam. The real test was about to start. Some colleagues left to other countries around the globe to realize the research, and with that, we were once again separated from our friends. Then the storms hit again. Thesis time. Some of us could feel the strength of the wave like a tsunami hitting us. The thesis period can be a very lonely experience, but it gives us the opportunity to go deep in a subject and really master it. The last month was very intense, and towards the end, the pressure fell only like a small flood, which nourished our forms, and now you can see the results. Here we are all reunited in this room with plenty of smiles.
Even though we had hard and challenging moments, we still had time to enjoy many social and cultural events. The King's Day and King's Night, and especially the World Cup, were one of those rare moments when you can really experience the joyful and craziness spirit of the so serious Dutch. The World Cup moment was so relaxing for us, used to the stress of IHE, and proved great opportunities to bind more with the Dutch community. We will never forget The night the Netherlands beat Spain. Sorry for the Spanish in present in the room. We still could feel the happiness even in the classes with the lecturers. Everyone was discussing about the football match. Dear family members, distinguished guests, we didn't only experience difficult and enjoyable moments during our stay here in Delft, but we also acquired high-quality scientific knowledge that will benefit our future career as water professionals. We have now the tools to help to go further to develop our countries and to tackle the diverse water issues we face every day. From the accessibility to safe water, good sanitation and healthy environment, to the implementation of new irrigation systems, hydropower dams and hydraulic structures, and even water management issues. As Albert Einstein said, try not to be a man of success, rather try to be a man of value. Dear graduating colleagues, we should all strive to have a positive impact in our respective communities. Remember to always give our best and to stay thankful and positive and humble. Also, Martin Luther King Jr. once said that darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. So, fellow colleagues, fresh graduates, it's a good time for us to shine. Let's continue this heritage of hard working and all-day sweating we got from IHE and put it to the service of our communities on regional and global level. We must be agents of change where necessary and continue the good work done by others where it's being done.
We would like to convey our deepest thanks to the community of IHE, the lecturers. We will never forget the mathematics courses from Dr. Ioana Popescu, the melodious way of speaking of Professor Michael McLean, or how time-sensitive is Dr. Alessandra Crosato. Also, a big thank to you, Dr. Hans van der Kwast, for the spirit he developed in all of us for always seek answers for ourselves. Or, like he likes to say it, Google it. We can't forget as well the entertaining moments from Professor Mainet, Professor Trufinovic and Professor Rovnik and their colleagues while playing music at many IHE events. Thank you. Like this one as well. This really was very special to us because it made us feel that you were easily approachable. All of the above demonstrate how special the IHE environment really is.
Special thanks as well for the social culture officers, Sylvia, Maria, and Marielle, for your hard working and always being ready to support all the participants at any time. The level of your professionalism is so inspiring for many of us, and it's so difficult to accommodate the needs of so diverse people. Great job. We cannot conclude without acknowledging especially the members of the Student Association Board, Dibesh, Abebe, and Sachin, the great for their great work, support, and dedication for the last year. It has been a privilege and such big honor to be surrounded by you and work with you guys. Finally, I thank you all for supporting us not only today, but for the last 18 months. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Caroline and Olivier. They've forgotten about the football finals, but okay. But there was a country in the east from here which did quite well. But I invite Sylvia again now.
Yeah, let's move on, please. All right, well, now that you have been inspired it is time to proceed with the formal part, the diploma awarding ceremony. Woohoo! Yes, it is time, guys. After over 18 months of hard work, the time has come for your efforts to be recognized and to receive your master degrees. You'll be standing here on stage and have your personal 5 seconds of fame. Some might take a minute. Don't take too much time if you love the stage. Experience tells that once you have received your degree, your focus tends to float a little. Therefore, I already mentioned this right now. So please go back to your seats after you have been given your diploma on stage, as there will be many, many more to receive it. Once the ceremony is finished, just before the cortege leaves the room, the photographer will take another photo of all of you with your beautiful blue tubes, sitting from the benches there. After the photographer has finished, then the cortege will leave. And then all other guests are welcome to join for refreshments and congratulations. So now we will start with the awarding of the environmental science students. I would first like to ask the environmental science program coordinator, Edwin Hess, to the stage, and I also call on stage Professor Irvine. Okay, we will start with the EPM specialization. First, we have Mr. Alabi from Nigeria. Ms. Alois from Tanzania. Ms. Kibres Gavier from Eritrea. Ms. Izima from Nigeria. Ms. Mibenge from Zambia. Ms. Moyo from Zimbabwe. Mr. Mukua from Zambia. Mr. Nyampong from Ghana. Ms. Phan from Vietnam. Oh, sorry. Mr. Siawash from Afghanistan. And we will now continue with the EST specialization. Mr. Daniel from Indonesia. Ms. Bagbeola from Nigeria. Wow, beautiful. Mr. Maina from Kenya. You're happy. Mr. Mohammed from Sudan. Mr. Tariq Egan from Ethiopia. Ms. Ugeruge from Nigeria. Mr. Yusuf from Ethiopia. And we will now continue with the LWM specialization. First, Mr. Ali from Pakistan. And Mr. Rahman from Bangladesh. And up next, the WQM specialization. First, Mr. Kahesai from Ethiopia. Ms. Nabafu from Uganda. Well done, sir. And Ms. Sankura from Ethiopia. Thank you, Edwin and Professor Irvine. Right. Okay, this brings us to the Urban Water Sanitation Program. I would first like to ask the coordinator, Tineke Hoijmans, to the stage, and I also can say Professor Brojanovic. First, Mr. Akamuntu from Rwanda. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our first distinction for Mr. Alfonso Martinez from Colombia. Ms. Aaron Fraga from Uruguay. Mr. Bacha from Bangladesh. We have another distinction for Mr. Bicuro Perez from Uruguay. Mother's really happy. Go congratulate. Then we have Miss Kemboy from Kenya. The photo session, huh? Ms. Libran Vasquez from Uruguay. Ms. Malan Kandage from Sri Lanka. Ms. Mani Raruta from Rwanda. Mr. Otello Benedale from Rwanda. Ms. Raimpour from Iran. Mrs. Silvara Barufa from Uruguay. Ms. Soliman from Egypt. Mr. Sorowet Asigaraga from Uruguay. Mr. Williamo from Mozambique. Nice scarf. Mr. Ayani from Ethiopia. And Ms. Sumani from Malawi. Now, before we move on to the WSE specialization, sorry guys, we have another short intermezzo, a surprise. That brings us to the following. UNESCO-IHE Institute for Water Education and partners have joined hands with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation in an effort to excel postgraduate sanitation education and research with a focus on solutions for the urban poor in sub-Saharan Africa and Southeast Asia. The 6-year capacity building and research project was granted €8 million by the foundation and is the largest research and postgraduate education project targeting sanitation for the urban poor that has ever been conducted. Besides the fact that the project includes scholarships for 20 PhDs and 60 master students, from which every year one outstanding graduate is awarded the prize for the best sanitary engineering master thesis. Who would it be? The award for this academic year is presented by Project Director Professor Brijanovic. The microphone is yours, Professor.
But my glasses, I'm sorry. I'm equally excited as the person who will receive it. For the fourth year in a row, it's my privilege to announce the winner of the Best Sanitary Engineering Master Thesis Award. The 2015 award of $5,000 will be used by the student to write a paper based on the thesis and present it at the conference of his or her choice. This year it will be her choice. And the best sanitary engineering thesis is entitled Struvite Recovery from Digester Supernatant Using the Seawater as Magnesium Source, written by Miss Mona Soliman from Egypt. Congratulations, Mona. Is Mona still in? We kept it as a top secret, you know, she didn't know.
Congratulations, Mona, and thank you, Professor Brijanovic. I now call on stage Professor Kennedy for the WSE specialization. Now it's your time. Okay, first up, Mr. Abu Sultan from Palestine. Mr. Ampa from Ghana. Mr. Dava from Mozambique. Mr. Gideon from Tanzania. Mr. Jagadi, also from Tanzania. Mr. Prabowo from Indonesia. Ms. Prameshwari from Indonesia. And Mr. Tayobe from Mozambique. Thank you, Tineke and Professor Kennedy. This brings us to the water management students. I would first like to request Herman Smith, coordinator of the water management program, to the stage. They're already applauding. That's nice. And I also call on stage Professor van der Zaag. We will now start with the WCM specialization. Ms. Ngo from Vietnam. Ms. Sabisky Floresta from Brazil. And we will continue with the WQN specialization. First, Ms. Ambepitia from Sri Lanka. Ladies and gentlemen, with distinction, Ms. Boubakia Ansa, Ghana. Mr. Desi from Ethiopia. Ms. Ganarias Rodriguez from Bolivia. Thank you, Professor van der Zaag, and I'll see you back on stage very soon. I would now like to call on stage Professor Zwarteveen for the WRM specialization. Ladies and gentlemen, another distinction for Mr. Garashifort from Iran. Mr. Kochai from Zimbabwe. Ms. Navarro Rios from Colombia. Ms. Nguyen from Vietnam. Ms. Purial from Nepal. And happy Mr. Rohendi from Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, a distinction for Mr. Tiwale from India. Ms. Umutoni from Rwanda. Mr. Tahaya from Tanzania. And Mr. Yahya from Indonesia. Thank you, Professor Zwarteveen. Would you please come back on stage, Professor Van der Zaag, for the WSM specialization? First, Mr. Alves from Mozambique. Mr. Haguma from Rwanda. Mr. Johnson from Liberia. I think he's happy. Mr. Masimbe from Mozambique. Mr. Mboya from Kenya. Ms. Uwa Maria from Rwanda. And Mr. Yunusa from Nigeria. Thank you, Professor Van der Zaag and Herman. Last but not least, we have arrived at the awarding of the water science and engineering students. With the coordinator Ali Daskuyp and Professor Roelvink, please join me on stage for the first 5 coastal graduates, please. Oops. Perfect. Commercial break. Almost there. Mr. Afandi from Indonesia. Mr. Ray Velasco from Colombia. Mrs. Sugito from Indonesia. Mr. Susi Lastiono from Indonesia. And Mr. Utomo from Indonesia. Thank you, Professor Roelvink. Would Professor van der Meer please join me on stage? Okay, we continue with Mr. Anor from Ghana. Ms. Komara from Indonesia. Mr. Prabowo from Indonesia. Mr. Salaudin from Bangladesh. Ms. Siregar from Indonesia. And Mr. Tumangor from Indonesia. Thank you, Professor van der Veer. Would Professor Ranasinghe please join me on stage? Mr. Kadir from Indonesia. Mr. Ranasinghe Mudian Silage from Sri Lanka, sort of, hopefully. Mr. Setiari from Indonesia. Okay, thank you, Ali and Professor Ranasinghe. Would Suryadi and Professor De Frature please join me on stage now? Are they okay? Okay. All settled. First, Mr. Al Hassan from Ghana. Mr. Azari from Indonesia. Mr. Bhatta from Nepal. Mr. Desta from Ethiopia. Mr. Haukizimana from Rwanda. Mr. Irfan from Pakistan. And another degree with a distinction for Ms. Kaputi from Kenya. Mr. Kidane from Ethiopia. Ms. Kurniawati from Indonesia. The next one, Mr. Makori from Tanzania. Mr. Masasi from Zimbabwe. Mr. Mkonta from Swaziland. Mr. Ntazinda from Rwanda. Mr. Reba from Ethiopia. Mr. Tades from Ethiopia. And Mr. Umolu from Nigeria. Thank you, Suryadi and Professor De Fratuur. Would Miroslav Marenche, on behalf of Paolo Paron and Professor Mainet, please join me on stage? All settled? Mr. Chan from Hong Kong. Mr. Desta from Ethiopia. Mr. El Jalabi from Sudan. And Mr. Hore from Bangladesh. Mr. Nshimirimana from Rwanda. Ms. Shrestha from Nepal. Mr. Tenkolu, Ethiopia. Ladies and gentlemen, a distinction for Mr. Tewolde, Eritrea. Mr. Tuyishimire from Rwanda. Mr. Vargas Albornoz from Bolivia. And Ms. Yusuf from Indonesia. Thank you, Miroslav and Professor Mainet. Would Gerard Corso and Professor Solomatine please join me on stage? Ms. Amutenya from Namibia. Mr. Arachide Don from Sri Lanka. And a distinction for Ms. Herman Azam Mr. Mueresa from Uganda. Mr. Shrestha from Nepal. And Mr. Shrestha Zua from Nepal. Show the flag because you have a distinction. Mr. Vasquez Vado from Paraguay. Mr. Zaman from Indonesia. And now from the IHE specialization, Ms. Chen from China. Mr. Jie from China. And Mr. Zai from China. Thank you, Gerald and Professor Solomatin. Now would Jochen Wenninger and Professor McLean please join me on stage. All right, we continue with the HWR specialization, the students of that program, or the alumni, sorry. First one, with a distinction for Miss Go from Singapore. Miss Reganine Amador from Costa Rica. Mr. Jakpa from Ghana. Mr. Kawo from Ethiopia. and Mr. Mazimpaka from Rwanda. Mr. Xi from China. And last but not least, Mr. Chen from China. Thank you, Jochen and Professor McLean. Okay, let me take this opportunity to be the first to offer my sincere congratulations to all of UNESCO-IHE's new alumni. Well, I think you will remember today as, well, I think, well, it was a magic moment, wasn't it? The final overwhelming wave of these 18 months. Look at that, the wave. So look around you again, and you see your now former classmates who have had a big part in this 18 months lasting, life-changing wave. Cherish the memories you have and you share, learning from them professionally and personally, bringing new perspectives to discussions, celebrating with them, sharing your ideas and hopes, dreams and hardships. You see friends from all over the world who opened your eyes, who helped you open your eyes and change your life forever. Remember that experience, the wave, and remember that wish sometimes. Stay open to change. I would strongly urge that all alumni take extremely good care of their diplomas. I heard some falling tubes. Don't do it again. Don't drop it, as they cannot be replaced. Please keep them with you in a safe place at all times. So we have now almost reached the end of today's official program. In a few minutes, you can join us in a first toast here. And afterwards, we will continue celebrating at UNESCO-IHE. The party starts there at 5:30 with food and drinks. And the IHE Master Groove, our well-known band, and a DJ. And you can enter the Institute through the front door. Before everyone leaves to celebrate his or her personal victory at the reception, don't start floating yet. A few more messages. So first we will take the photo of all the graduates, again, sitting together with the tubes held high, another wave. And after that I would like to point out that the procession of the cortege will be the first to leave the room. And then finally it is time for the celebrations, congratulations, and the first toast. So photographer, where did you go? Oh, there you are. No more photos?
Yeah.
Yes? Right, I don't see any tubes. Can I see some tubes? Ah, yes. Excellent. Perfect. All right. Good. So may I ask everyone to rise so the cortege can leave?
Ik denk dat het gaat.